Hey guys, Ariel over here at the garden right outside of the tiny house, and just wanted to do a little update on how things have been growing. First, you may hear some thunder rumbling on the background. It might actually rain. We got raindrops yesterday, just enough to make like splatters in the dust, and today we got some more because I felt 2 raindrops on my face and 1 on my arm, and I'm hearing some thunder rolling around. There are some big dark clouds, so I am hoping we get dumped on because it's been, well, yesterday we got a few drops, so it's been 31 days with no rain, and that wasn't enough to even make the surface wet. So if we don't get rain today, there's like a 30% chance today. If we don't get it today, it looks like for the next, we're going to be out to something like 40 or 50 days with no moisture. But here's how the garden is doing. The peas are doing great. They're up. They're starting to send out their little tendrils. Some of these climb up higher and some stay more bushy. The one thing I think I learned is that there's supposed to be carrots right here. Now there's 1 or 2. Over the years I've gotten a lot of people ask me, how do I get such good carrot germination? Because normally I have fabulous carrot crops where I have 15, 20 gallons of carrots from a fairly small space. And I've always said, I don't know what I do that gets the carrots to germinate. I guess some people have a hard time with that. Mine always germinate just fine. I think this year I figured out what makes the difference, because this whole garden got planted late. As you probably know, we moved the tiny house, moved the garden, all that. So the garden got in 5 to 6 weeks later than I normally plant it. It also meant a whole lot of the things germinated so fast. I've never had like the pea seedlings and, you know, all the seedlings pop through the ground so quick, because everything was warm. It was already hot when it got planted. But the one thing that apparently does not like that, I'm gathering, is carrots, because I planted carrots just like I normally do. Normally every single seed comes up. I don't know, I get somewhere between 99 and 100% germination normally. And this year I can only find just a couple carrots, so I would say I got like 5% germination. And so here's what I think may make the difference. I do not normally wait for a last frost date, for the ground to warm up, none of that, because in the old clearing where I've been gardening for years, I didn't have a last frost date. It frosted and froze all summer long. So I planted the minute the snow was off the dirt surface and the dirt was defrosted enough that, you know, it wasn't icy, because when the snow first melts off, often, I mean, you couldn't even chisel it with a chisel. So as soon as the soil, it wasn't warm, as soon as it was not solid ice, I would plant. So carrots must like that, is my best guess, because when I planted them like that, every single seed came up. It would be cool, it would be frosting, I'd be using the frost covers, every single seed would come up. These got planted while it was already warm, the soil was already warm, all the things you'd think a seed would like, and hardly any carrots germinated. So there's an idea. I'd have to, you know, 1 year experience isn't a good solid experiment, but it's something I think made a difference. And so if you want to plant carrots, you might want to try planting them way before you think you can plant anything else, when your dirt is freezing cold, as long as it's not frozen solid. Just an idea. So I don't think I'm going to have a great carrot crop this year, but that's really the only thing that's not looking good. So this bed is peas down the middle, carrots on the side, theoretically, though there's not many carrots. Let's look around. I love listening to that thunder rumble in the background. This whole bed is cabbage, and this is cauliflower, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, which all look very similar. Those are all in the brassica family. They all look very similar when they're this age. These are obviously purple cabbages down toward that end. I've got green cabbages. They're not big yet. Again, the whole garden got a late start, but they are rapidly growing out new leaves, and hopefully we'll get a good cabbage harvest, because between liking to eat cabbage fresh, making coleslaws, making sauerkraut, and the purple for the Danish Christmas cabbage that Clay introduced me to and we both love, we use a lot of cabbages in a year. So that's how they're doing. The strawberry bed, they got fairly disrupted this year because I dug them all up. They were already in the garden, so I had to dig them up, leave them sitting in boxes while I got the garden beds moved and refilled and then put them back in. So they got some serious disruption this year. And so they're not looking quite as lush as they normally do at this time of year, but they are growing out. They're starting to send out new runners on a whole bunch of these, and they are growing some little strawberries, and the first ones are just starting to turn red. I doubt I'm going to get a very spectacular strawberry crop this year because I disrupted them so much, but they're going to survive. They're going to make more new baby strawberry plants, which will end up getting planted all around the property. And I am going to get a few strawberries. The lettuce bed, normally at this time of year, I would be eating a ton of lettuce because I would have had this planted, like I said, many weeks ago. But as it is, they're just growing little baby plants, but they do grow fast, so it shouldn't be too long before we've got some lettuce. And you can see, as normal, I planted a whole variety of different colors. Now, the other thing I want to mention is there are a bunch of little weeds coming. These are what I call shepherd's purse. Those are not lettuces. So they're almost getting big enough to grab like that, and I need to go through and weed, and I'm sure have more weeding this year because I made these new beds with digging up the soil and filling this, which turned up a whole lot of seeds that have been in the soil for years. But what I found, because I gardened in the same spot with the same soil for 7 years last time, is that if the first year you can keep after the weeding and make sure that, you know, they don't have to be this little when you get them, but make sure nothing actually grows up and turns into a mature plant and reseeds. And then, because of the raised bed setup, these are, you know, no-till or whatever you want to call it, I'm not turning up the dirt again. I don't bring up any new seeds, and I don't let anything that's in here go to seed. You will always get a few weeds. I don't know, a bird poops them out as it flies over or whatever. There'll always be some, but for real, you get to have very little weeding. The last couple of years in the last spot, I'd go through in the spring and pull a few weeds once. Maybe 3 weeks later, I'd pull a few more that had sprouted, and that was it. I mean, I only spent a couple hours total per year weeding the whole garden that produced 535 or whatever it was, you know, pounds of food for us. So that makes a big difference. If you're not turning up new seeds all the time and you never let anything get big enough to go to seed, then this first year it's going to be some work, but it should pay dividends for a long time into the future. So a lot of these are still so little they're almost hard to pull, but in a few more days they'll probably be big enough. I'll just sit out here and listen to a book for an evening and pull all the weeds and hopefully keep after it so that next year we'll really benefit from that. And also over here in the background, you can see onions. They're growing out of being beat up. By the time I got the garden going and wanted to get some, onion starts, the last ones that were left in the local greenhouse were kind of oversized and too grown together, so they got a little beat up in the process of transplanting, but they're growing out of that, and this whole bed is onions, yellow and white, and hopefully we'll get a good onion crop. I forgot, over here at the far end of the pea bed is the garlic I have this year. This was started last fall, so it's in kind of the same boat as the strawberry plants. It was dug up, sat in buckets for a while this spring while I got the garden redone and then replanted. So it's not looking quite as big and gorgeous as garlic usually does for me. I'm sure that's the fault of all of the disruption it had, and hopefully I'll get a little bit of garlic and get a better crop next year. But it's growing, it survived. We'll get some. I just see this is the first I noticed that there's one that's started to make a garlic scape. They're delicious if you ever eat them. That's the flower on top. This whole bed has cucumbers and squashes down the center. They're still pretty small, but they are growing. And on the side are beets of various colors. I love beets. They generally do well here. They are doing well. I probably need to do a little bit of thinning. I tend to plant 3 or 4 seeds in each clump, and then about maybe 4 or 5 days when they get just a little bigger, if I go through and thin them, all those baby little beet plants that I thin out make an awesome salad, or you can fry them up and have them hot if you like. But the little cabbages and cucumbers are coming up. I got a couple bigger ones, and even with the frost covers on, they're just a more frost sensitive plant. Even being covered when it was 27 degrees there 2 nights in a row in the middle of June, they got burnt. I left them in there because I thought they might try to grow out of it. Like this one is got one little new leaf coming, but I think at this point the ones I started from seed are going to outgrow those because they didn't get frosted because they were so little. So that's the beets and the squashes and cucumbers. This bed over here, this bed has got weeds big enough to need weeding. This is all beans, some climbing beans in the middle and shorter bush beans on the side. I've got green beans, purple beans, red beans, and yellow beans. They seem to be doing pretty good. Not real big yet. Again, everything here is just slow and behind, even for my area, due to the process of moving. And then behind me, over here, this bed and most of that one is the potato patch. Potatoes, of course, store well all winter. Clay in particular is a big potato fan, and I like them as well. So these are all growing well. They're, starting to get bushy. And I did something this year I've never tried before. I've always cut up potatoes, so there's a couple eyes on each piece of potato, and then planted them. I was busy and out of time and planting things late, and I had plenty of seed potatoes, so I put them all in whole. I mean, some of these were fairly big potatoes that were starting to sprout, so you can see how many sprouts are coming up in each chunk because that was a whole potato, not divided out. I'm curious to see, this is an experiment that I'm doing because I was busy and short on time. I don't know if that's going to give me a bigger, more vigorous plant, or if they'll end up being too crowded because, a big potato had so many eyes and shot out so many sprouts that'll actually be harder on them. I don't know. But in the wild, I thought about nobody would cut up a potato to replant it. The sprouts would have to grow from a whole potato of whatever size the parent plant had made the year before. So I figured I'd give it a shot. And so far the potatoes are all looking good, and hopefully we'll get a good crop of those. Then if you can see in the background at the far end there, I have a few herbs and stuff. Those are eventually going to go back in the planters around the house, but the planters have to be rebuilt, and I haven't gotten to that yet. So for now they're stuck in the corner of the garden, so they're easy to take care of and water. But that's kind of a look at how things are doing. Overall good, overall behind for the year due to the late planting, but I think everything else is going to do well, and everything did germinate incredibly fast, except for carrots that apparently do not like being planted when it's nice and warm soil. Hopefully there's a few tips in there that help some of you guys if you're gardening in similar climates. And again, if you haven't followed the gardening here over the years, what I can grow normally in a summer, and there's dozens of gardening videos on, this same garden located in the old spot. What I can grow in a summer here, you can probably grow in the spring and the fall, and then grow a whole garden of things in your summer that I can't grow, here ever due to the temperatures. But that's how the garden's doing. Thought you guys would like a look at that. Over here at Nyth, thank you so much for watching these videos and spending some of your very valuable time choosing to do that. We hope you found something that was useful, educational, helpful, maybe save someone else some time and trouble, or just something just plain beautiful. If you don't want to miss any videos, subscribe and hit the bell. And thanks for coming along on our journey as we build a new little homestead with our tiny house and everything to come.